When you think about Facebook right now, if it was a paid product in the United States, the average subscriber would have to pay over $100 a year to actually make up for the amount of money that they're making on advertising.
Yeah, I don't think you go back. I think you build the model from jump with that subscription in mind. And so in the short term, maybe in the short term, you're definitely sacrificing some revenue. And I think, but as those models get smarter, you find ways.
But how many subscriptions are we going to ultimately have? Whether it's a Hulu or a Netflix, whether it's a Wall Street Journal or a New York Times, whether it's now your cable bill, magazines are now going behind paywalls. I mean, and that, by the way, is I don't want to say it's a 1%er world, but it's not a 100%er world at all.
No. The reality is most of these will not be able to thrive in this model. The simple test that I have for it is, can this content be created for free by a 12-year-old with a smartphone? If the content that's being created is as simple as like a nice photo of a cat or a top 10 list of like which Disney princess you're more like, that content is not going to be defensible with that kind of a model. But if it is unique, if it does require research, if it is special, then I think you can justify it.
Can I ask you about a real-world other investment you've made?
Sure.
You're into Skip, right?
Yes, I am.
So Skip is the scooter business.
Yes.
I don't understand the hotness of the scooter business. I don't understand.
Never ridden on a
I don't understand the valuations.
I
don't understand the valuations that are assigned to these things.
Yeah.
Ford just bought one of your competitors.
Yes, they did.
You got, I think. You got granted rights to actually do this in San Francisco.
Yes.
Their version didn't.
Yes.
What's happened here?
Okay, there's a ton of hype, no doubt. 3 years ago, we saw a version of this with bicycles. And you probably saw the photos in China of these. There was a glut of these bicycle sharing startups. Bicycles were just piled up everywhere, causing all kinds of a mess. This trend came, a ton of money was put into it. It disappeared because people realized it wasn't going to work here in the States. A few of these companies pivoted into these scooters, which are smaller form factor, better user experience, all this sort of stuff. What it is solving is that last mile. And a majority of the trips that are done by, whether it's a taxi or a car sharing service, are only about a mile or a mile and a half. And that experience is awful, from having to wait, meet your driver, it's time consuming. And the idea is, if we can make this easy enough and simple enough, you can just pick up one of these things, go to where you need to go, and drop it off and forget it. And Skip's taken and I'm very proud of them for taking this approach of actually working with cities and communities to get those permits and to work with the areas they serve instead of just.
What do you think of Ford or others trying to buy these things?
I think it's smart. In the end of the day, these companies know now that they have to be more than just the makers of the hardware. They need to actually own the networks or have some relationship with customers, whether it's a ride-hailing app or whether it's the sort of last-mile scooter business. The challenge, though, is going to be, how do you get great engineers to come work on this software? And there's a talent war like no other right now.
What's the defensibility of this? Why is Skip any better than Scoot or Bird or any of these other guys?
I think, I do think that working with cities and with communities will matter. Because
don't they all have
the anti-Uber approach?
Yeah, cities have learned from Uber, and unlike a car sharing service, a city can actually confiscate these things when they're on the street and lock them up. They can enforce permitting. And I think the magical part of this is that we don't have a real solution for that last mile problem until it becomes simple enough to just open up your phone, have something be there that you can get on and get to where you need to go. And so I think it'll be like Lyft, Uber. Most people will have a couple apps on their phone, and then whoever can provide the best experience is the one.
And how many of these are going to go out of business when this is all done? I mean, there will be a bust, right? There'll be a scooter bust when this is over.
Yes, yeah, I think they'll end up. I mean, there were other ride-sharing services we don't talk about anymore that had silly names that got funded and went away, and now we talk about Uber, Lyft. I think we'll be in a similar situation with probably 2 or 3 players, and then whoever has the best experience for users, but also for the communities they serve, triumphs.
We talked about Bitcoin and that being down at 5,400. What does that mean for Coinbase or for others?
Well, so Coinbase has had significant growth in spite of the fact that the markets are doing poorly. They still make money as long as people are trading. Trading numbers have declined obviously this year, but long term, I think they're continuing to secure themselves as the trusted resource for getting fiat into crypto. And I'm personally really happy with the fact that there has been a tough year in all these cryptocurrencies because it gets people focused on the things that matter, which is building the software that's actually going to hopefully make all these things tremendously valuable in the long term. There were a lot of charlatans and scenesters that have been in the mix, and this is a great way to shake them out. There are still people pitching us really impressive blockchain-based companies, but they're far more serious and in far fewer numbers now, but they're far more serious than what we used to see a year ago. And that's good. I think the people who are going to be working on crypto now need to be thinking 10 years down the road and not about just trying to make a quick buck and buy a Lambo.
Okay. Alexis, thank you very much.